you could just be having a midlife crisis. And I was like, really? I cannot believe it, but I do have a prescription for micronized progesterone. So I just hope it's not gonna mess me up completely like the pill did. This feeling of having this massive menopause, I think it's called, it's kind of not there. I actually took the liberty of comparing the side effects from both medications. Hi and welcome back to another week in my life as a 41-year-old child-free woman living in Berlin, Germany with my husband and our 2 fluffy cats. After struggling with perimenopause symptoms, especially low mood and poor sleep for probably a year or 2 without even knowing anything about perimenopause, I cannot believe that I'm actually starting hormone therapy. After being dismissed by my OBGYN and being prescribed the birth control pill, which didn't go too well, I'm sharing how I'm finally successfully asking my GP for HRT, as well as the first few days on micronized progesterone. So if that's something you're interested in, welcome, and I hope you enjoy watching. Happy Monday. I'm out and about on a walk. It's the 1st of June and it's supposed to rain all week, so yay. But one thing that is quite exciting actually is that I just called my GP's practice and asked if we couldn't move the appointment that I have on the 1st of July to an earlier date. And now I have an appointment for tomorrow. Whee! I think I just had my ovulation like probably yesterday. And I did weigh myself the day before yesterday and then earlier today. And just within a couple days, I gained like a good 2 pounds. So once again, I'm super bloated. Generally, mood is kind of all over the place. And I was like, screw this. I'm just gonna call and see if I get an earlier appointment. I'm honestly quite scared that it's gonna fail again, like even if she does end up prescribing the Prometrium, I'm quite scared that my body's not gonna like it either. But I think it's totally worth it to give it a try and see how it goes, and I think earlier or later I will want to try it anyway. So yeah, that's my Monday. I think I'll head back, get some work done, go to the gym tonight, and then let's see how tomorrow goes. It's Tuesday and I just got done with my first few meetings and now I'm just trying to get some work done. I feel like I'm definitely surviving on cacao and like coffee today, decaf coffee, but hey, still. I woke up at 1 a.m. this morning. I was wide awake and was like, yay, ready to tackle the day. Lay awake for I think 2 or 3 hours. I'm not quite sure. Also, both of our cats were basically lying on my legs or like besides my legs. So it was really difficult to find a comfortable position, but that's just the reality of living with cats. They sleep in our bed like almost every single night. I'm quite tired. Kind of confirmed my choice to call my GP and ask for an earlier appointment. Again, since I was awake anyway, I went on like ChatGPT, I went on Reddit, all the highly reputable scientific sources you can find on the internet. But yeah, once again, looking for advice, looking for other experiences with people who have been taking Prometrium, like micronized progesterone, I think it's called. And yeah, some people love it, some people hate it. I'm kind of scared that I'll be one of the latter, but I think that this time around I'm actually way more willing to stick with it and see if the symptoms subside. Other than that, I don't know if I told you, but despite eating 100% vegan for 2 weeks, which usually does the trick, my boobs are once again like really tender, really swollen. Generally, I feel like within a day, I think I told you, within a day, I like puffed up and retained so much water. So yeah, I also feel like since, at least in my mind, I'll be taking the progesterone cyclically. I think since during the second half of my cycle, I do have all of these symptoms anyway, it's gonna be less bad than taking it during the first half of my cycle, where I'm usually feeling great and ended up feeling not so great on the pill. So yeah, let's see how that goes. I do have a fair few meetings this week. I'm also going to the office on Thursday. So I just hope it's not gonna mess me up completely like the pill did. Fingers crossed. I cannot believe it, but I do have a prescription for Prometrium, for micronized progesterone. I already picked it up from the pharmacy. and I'm gonna take the first one tonight. I'm so happy, and I had kinda a really good appointment with my GP. Well, I don't know if I can call it a good appointment, but a bit of a crazy appointment. She was really nice. I really like my GP. I think she's amazing. So I told her what's been going on with like going to the OBGYN, getting a prescription for the pill, and she was like, "The pill? the birth control pill? She was like, seriously? So that was kind of cool, confirming, I guess. She was really open to prescribing progesterone, but she was like, should we do a hormone panel? And then she was kind of unsure herself and kind of back and forth about it. But then she was like, actually, well, it doesn't really make any sense. And then she was like, yeah, let's just see how you do. Here's the prescription, basically. And I'm still so excited. Oh God. But yeah, the crazy thing about the appointment is that there was actually another GP in training sitting beside her. And he was kind of looking at my record and went like, so is it actually possible that at the age of 41 or like almost 42, you do have like perimenopause symptoms? And then the actual GP said like, yeah, that's totally possible. And then a little later in the appointment, he was like, do women actually have like a midlife crisis? You know, that could be it as well. Like you could just be having a midlife crisis. And I was like, really? It was just crazy to me. Like he was basically everything you read on the internet of how ill-informed some doctors are. And I was also like, no, it's totally possible. And it's actually a very under-researched and underrepresented issue. And I actually suggested that he look into it further. But yeah, I'm on my way back home. Still a while to go. I just got home. I still can't believe that I actually do have the progesterone right now. Crazy thing, it's actually from the same company that produces the pill that I got. Yeah, who would have thought? I'm really excited to take this tonight. I'm still a little bit scared, but also quite hopeful. But I still can't believe how this appointment went. I still can't believe that, first of all, my GP was so amazing, just as I know her to be, I guess. But at the same time, that this other GP in training was like, I think you call it medical gaslighting. Yeah, first of all, that I'm way too young, that at the age of 41 or 42, it's probably impossible that I do have any like perimenopause symptoms. So obviously he's not really educated on the subject. And then also asking if women also have a midlife crisis and that my symptoms might be related to that. But anyway, I guess I do unfortunately need to get back to work. But yeah, I guess I can officially say that I'm starting hormone therapy. That's crazy. Wish me luck, I guess. But by the time you see this, it'll already be 1 or 2 weeks later. So it's Wednesday. I hope you don't mind the fact that I'm wearing the same outfit as yesterday, but I guess again, remote work. Anyway, it's the first day after taking prometrium or micronized progesterone for the first time last night. I don't know if I showed you yesterday, but this is what the pills look like. They are way bigger than the actual pill. So this is the pill, and this is the prometrium. Well, prometrium is only a brand name, and what I got is called Faminita. But yeah, so far so good. The only thing I was having earlier today is a bit of a headache, but then again, I did also have a headache all day yesterday. I was also a little bit groggy this morning. But once again, I was also very groggy all day yesterday. So I feel like now the difference is not as pronounced, as it's the second half of my cycle and I would generally just not feel too great. And considering this, I'm actually feeling pretty good today. The one thing I'm noticing is that I feel like my bloating, or this feeling of having this massive menopause, I think it's called, is kind of not there, or kind of went away overnight, which is something that I will definitely closely monitor, because that would be insane and insanely amazing. Obviously, I still have like belly fat, so, but this feeling of like, even though I haven't eaten much, or I'm like not generally bloated, still feeling bloated, that's not there right now, so that's pretty nice. Also, I haven't experienced any like cravings or any like moodiness or anything so far. I actually took the liberty of comparing the side effects from both medications, and I thought that that was quite interesting. So, for example, looking at the pill, so I feel like when it comes to common side effects, like 1 out of 10, it's not that bad. It's like headaches, reduced libido, then like booby pain and weight gain. But for micronized progesterone, it's actually only headache and then change in the frequency of your periods. That's the only 2 side effects. are in the 1 out of 10. And then another thing I really want to point out is that when it comes to depression, for the pill, like depression and anxiety, it's 1 out of 100. And for micronized progesterone, depression is 1 out of 10,000. So there's quite a difference. And with the pill, generally, the 1 out of 100 side effects list is quite long. And here it's actually not too bad. And it's only, once again, like booby pain, like being tired. So I don't know, I'm not an expert. I'm not trying to sell or like convince anyone to take micronized progesterone. But I'm just still wondering and surprised why my gynecologist prescribed the pill and was unwilling to prescribe me this. But yeah, anyway, I do need to join my meeting and I'll keep you posted on how things go over the next few days. It's Wednesday night, it's 9:30. I just took my second progesterone pill and I actually had my soup dinner group colleagues visiting just now and they just left. And this is what I'm left with. So the dishwasher is already running and I do have a fair bit to clean up tonight before going to bed. And then I also need to play with the cats and then I think I'll be very ready for bed. Good morning. I'm getting ready to go to the office just now. I actually woke up quite early at around 6, but I had quite the good night's sleep. Like I only slept for 7.5 hours, which I think for most people is enough. For me, again, ideally it's 9 hours, but at least I didn't really wake up during the night. I was only up once to go to the bathroom and that's about it. So I slept a lot better than the past previous nights. Meow. Which one of those nights was the one without me taking anything. And then the second night was after taking progesterone for the first time. But overall, I gotta say, so far so good. I definitely don't have a strong reaction. Overall, yesterday and also this morning, I've been feeling quite like optimistic, positive. I obviously don't know how much of an effect placebo plays in this. Like, I definitely had a bias against taking the pill. I think even after deciding to take the pill, I was still a little bit like, is that a good idea? And with micronized progesterone, I definitely feel a bias towards like that I hope and think it's gonna help me. But yeah, one thing I'm extremely curious to see is how I'm gonna feel in like 2 to 3 days when usually PMS kicks in and I just don't want to see anyone anymore. I hate work. I feel even more bloated. I feel like super sluggish during my workouts. What else? Can't think of anything else right now, but basically life goes downhill and that's going to be interesting. I think today is going to be a special day and I'm going to put on mascara. It's the first time in months, I think, that I'm gonna see like almost my entire team. Might as well try to look a little put together. I'm always a little worried to overdo the blush. I don't want anyone to think that I look like a clown, and I do see people where I think that they look like a clown, so I'm always a little bit worried. I also always tap a little bit with the towel because I'm scared to overdo it. What do we think? It's Friday morning. I am about to have my first meeting soonish. And today is actually the first day where I feel like I do have some side effects or like more severe side effects. I think I took the 3rd progesterone pill last night. And it's also the 3rd day where I do need to take, or I am taking ibuprofen to kind of get through the day. I do have this like not super severe, but still pretty annoying, uncomfortable headache. And today is also the first day that I do actually feel a little bit nauseous, but I'm pretty sure that that's due to the fact that last night I had a very early or like pretty early dinner at around 6 p.m. and then I took progesterone at around 9 or even 9:15. And from the research that I've been doing, you're actually supposed to, or it is tolerated better if you take it with food or like just shortly after having dinner. So that's what I'm gonna go back to tonight. And I might actually even try to, let's say if we end up having dinner at 8, then I might even try and taking progesterone then, because I feel like I haven't yet had the effect that other people are talking about of like taking progesterone and then immediately feeling kind of spaced out and kind of ready to go to bed. I feel like for me it's been very like subtle. I mean, I'm also taking the lowest dose, so no idea. But yeah, I'm once again having a conversation with ChatGPT. Honestly, it's like quickly becoming my new best friend, which sounds kind of sad, but that's not how I mean it. But I don't know, I feel like I've been a little bit of a late adopter when it comes to ChatGPT. I've just really heavily started using it over the last couple of weeks or so, but since then I've been using it for pretty much everything and anything. Prior to that, I was still like someone who would Google things. And yeah, I've been finding it super helpful. Although, again, I know that it doesn't replace like reading actual studies or, But anyway, it did actually confirm that around day 3 to 7, I think, or 5, the side effects can peak, and that it's also very common for people to feeling a little bit like spaced out, a little bit groggy. It's nowhere near to how I felt on the second day after taking the pill, but it's still like noticeable. Like I'm sitting in front of my screen, should get work done, and I'm like, ugh. But yeah, apparently, hopefully, knock on wood, that's supposed to level out. And then after like 5 to 7 to 10 days, you're supposed to start noticing the improved sleep, improved mood, which I feel like when it comes to mood, it has already helped, actually. I don't know if I've ever shared this, but for the last year, 2 years, maybe even, I've been having this nighttime depression, nighttime sadness, and it's something that I actually never really fully questioned until a few months ago. I don't know, I guess I just thought that that was the new normal. And now I'm actually reading that a lot of women in early perimenopause do experience the same thing, like feeling low, feeling a sort of dread come nighttime. And that's definitely what I've had for a long time, actually, and I haven't really had that for the last couple days. And if that's something that goes away, I'd be so happy. I've also been listening to a bunch of podcasts, watching so many YouTube videos on the subject, and actually I wanted to share, and thanks again to Rachel for sharing this with me in the first place, one podcast that I'm gonna link below that I find just so good, so mind-blowing, so interesting, so upsetting at the same time, on like women's hormonal health and HRT and everything that comes with it. So if you're interested, definitely go check it out. But yeah, I'm still blown away of how little a lot of people know about this, including myself. Up until around 4 months ago, I didn't know anything about perimenopause. Then I stumbled upon this book called All Fours by Miranda July. I still have it like in my bookshelf over there. And the main character is basically going through perimenopause and also doesn't know anything about it. And then I kind of panicked and was like, oh my God, this is what I have to go through as well. And then only due to this book, I started looking into the whole menopause topic. And now, again, I'm just blown away that we are not really taught about this. No one's really taught about this. Even doctors, like my gynecologist, again wanted to put me on the pill. I hope and I'm thinking that that's gonna change over the next few years. I mean, there's so much information out there right now. I hope the medical community is gonna catch up on it and actually educate their doctors and practitioners. But yeah, what I'm doing right now is to share like the specific podcast and just what I'm going through personally with everyone I know that is like in the range of perimenopause or even menopause. But yeah, as I said, it's Friday. I think I'm gonna end the vlog here, and I'm really curious to see how the next week's gonna go, and I will give you a proper, hopefully positive update on how it's been going next week. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.